Alright, hello, my name is Joshua Quick. I was a freshman at Oak Leaf High School just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think this is when it happened. It was on the Friday before the President's Day, break. So it was February something, I don't know, I'm not good with dates. Basically, I was walking through my fourth period class. And also, before I say this, I know the joke is bad, right? I know the joke was probably punishable in some manner. All I ask is that you watch until the end to see my point of view, my family's point of view on this. So I was walking through my fourth period, and this kid that I don't know, his name is Austin. I don't know his last name, but if I did, I wouldn't say it because that's probably dangerous. But since most of the people who are going to see this video come from the school, that maybe they know Austin and maybe they can say something to him, I don't know. But Austin walks up, he doesn't walk up to me because we're moving through the hallway, and I'm walking with my friends, Jared and Alex. And basically, we're walking. We do this every day. And Austin, this kid that I don't know, I think he knows Alex. So he walks up to me, and he doesn't know me. He says, "Don't shoot up the school," right? And there is a better way I could have gone about this. Instead of continuing the joke, everybody so far has told me that I should have just said, "We don't joke about that here," because you have to remember it's pretty fresh off of the giant school shooting that everybody's upset about. So me, in my sarcastic manner, I said I was thinking about it, but now I'm not gonna. All right? And that's how all of this happened, right? This comment. So about 30 or 45 minutes later, an officer shows up at my classroom in biology, and he calls me out, and then he says we're gonna go down to the office or something. I should get my bags. So I go get my bags. They interrogate me at the office. I was completely open from the start. I told everything that happened. They knew the full story from me since the beginning, right? And I mentioned I'm not lying because these are all my witnesses. I called my friend, or I didn't call them. I told them the witnesses were my friends Jared and Alex. They could even ask Austin. But the thing is, they did when they put me in ISS. And then they brought down Jared and Alex, who said they didn't hear anything. Which I guess it kind of helps me because then people know I wasn't going around screaming that I was going to shoot up a school. If the people right next to me couldn't hear what I was saying, then it very clearly wasn't a situation I was legitimately threatening anybody. But they called down Austin, and I'll later in the story I'll tell you why this is probably the reason most of this is happening. So at the end of the school day, first off, I just want to say they forgot me in ISS. They from my understanding, I was supposed to write down my statement, and then they were supposed to come get it, right? But they left me in ISS until the end of the day, where then I had to ask if I could leave, because at this point I didn't know if I was still under police investigation. So I go home. My mom yells at me, because so far from her perspective, they've only told her that I had threatened to shoot up a school, which I didn't. I've said what I actually did. And I believe it's changed on the official record now, but I could be wrong. So, I think an hour later, maybe 30 minutes later, the cops show up to search my room. We gave them permission because there's no weapons in my room. There's nothing dangerous in my room. Yeah. So, They search it. He calls me out to talk to him for a minute, tells me everything that could have happened. He says if the girl was actually threatened, I could be getting arrested right now, which I completely understand. I think it's important to investigate these things. But, so my mom tells me that I have to have a meeting with the principal next week on Wednesday. So at this point, it's like I have to wait past the weekend. I'm missing Tuesday because I'm not allowed to go to school because they think I'm a school shooter on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I have the meeting with the principal. And let me just say that from this point on, I think everything is completely unnecessary because the meeting on that Wednesday, completely unnecessary. I set the record straight because in the record it literally said where Austin walked up to me and said, "Don't shoot up the school," with no context at all. In the record, somebody somewhere, which I later found out to be Austin himself, said that he walked up and asked me my opinions on the school shootings, which not only does that not make sense, because you don't ask people's opinions on objectively terrible events, but it doesn't make sense because I don't know the guy, and he's not running like a survey around the school. But yeah, so in the record, it makes it look like I was just walking around with no context saying, and also in the record it says, I was thinking about shooting up the school. Which, I mean, I guess technically if you, like, explained all of the pronouns I used and what I actually said, it would look like that. But again, this is a serious situation. You can't cut corners to just get your idea across. So the first problem is Austin lied about this, right? And now I'm in, like, heaps of trouble because the only people willing to speak up are also people who are just too scared of being, like, punished for this. And I can say without a doubt, Austin lied. Like, I don't feel bad about this. What he said could potentially get me just in even worse trouble. Like, if I wasn't such a like, clean record, then I could legitimately be in jail right now. But I'm gonna continue the story. So after that meeting, they said we have to have another meeting, right? And she said, I believe she said she was gonna be there, the principal. So that was a lie. She wasn't at the other meeting. And also, we had to wait 2 weeks. So at this point, I've been out of school for 2 weeks, and I guess 1 day if you want to keep track of it that specifically. I've been out of school for 2 weeks at this point in time. It's been longer now. I've been out of school for 2 weeks. And I go to this meeting at Bannerman, a school for, like, delinquents and criminals. And keep in mind, I only made a comment that was, like, a 5-second lapse of judgment. The people at this school, like, are just bad kids, and that's nothing to, like, discredit them. I hope that they, like, change their ways or whatever. But I shouldn't be in a school for delinquents when my grades were at, like, a very good point, and they just, like, pulled me out of school, right? So I have a meeting at Bannerman, where basically the outcomes of this meeting are I can either, if he decides it, I can just go back to school, and I believe it's all over. He can put me in Bannerman or something. I don't know. But basically, the other really big outcome is that he reaffirms and, like, upholds the recommendation for expulsion. And first off, I don't even know who this guy is. I'm not sure if he's, like, the principal of Bannerman or, like, an administrator or something. But you would think that, you know, someone, like, more powerful would be able to decide my future at this point. So we go to this meeting, and it is potentially the worst meeting. Imagine, like, going to a police interrogation, right? And basically they're like, oh yeah, you did nothing wrong, but but like they say that as they're like handcuffing you and taking you to jail. This is basically what the meeting was. The meeting was him saying, "Oh, this happens to kids all the time. This happens to kids all the time." And I'm not going to say that like that's true or it's not true, but let me just say this. There is no better way I could have played that meeting or the meeting before it or anything, basically. I said I just said I know what I did was wrong, and also I tried to make sure like he had corrected the things in the record. And he, like, in the meeting, and I'm not kidding, I wish I was kidding, he tried to convince me that I was a school shooter, basically. He was like, oh, because I told him, like, I'm not a threat. I have nothing on my record. I have, like, decent grades. He asked me for the grades, by the way. The grades were a factor in this. If you had bad grades and you were in my shoes, you were probably getting sent to Bannerman. But he tried to, like, draw parallels. He literally compared me to the Columbine shooters, and I really wish I was kidding. The geniuses that are controlling the future of our children in schools are just comparing kids to Columbine shooters for the heck of it. Because I said, there's nothing in my room. There's no weapons or anything. And then he was like, oh, do you think the Columbine shooters kept their stuff in their house? And I was like, yeah, I'm fairly sure that they had some, like, stuff in their basement. And then he was like, no, they had a storage unit. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, I don't really know how to respond to that. He's basically just telling me what I should do if I ever wanted to be a school shooter, which, again, I don't want to be. I think my computer just went on sleep. I hope the audio is still going. What next? Basically, it's like, he tried to make it sound like this situation was super normal. And apparently it happened to a couple other kids at the school, Oakleaf. But, I don't know, I've never heard about those kids. So, but basically he's like, oh, anybody could have made the mistake you made. And then, you know, that seems like the kind of, like, thing that if it's a common mistake, you wouldn't reaffirm and uphold the expulsion, right? But no, that's exactly what he did. He wanted to keep the expulsion recommendation over my head, which, keep in mind, all I said, right, the 5 seconds it took to lead up to this point was, I was thinking about it, but now I'm not gonna, in a sarcastic tone. There are very few people on this planet that could take this and think I'm legitimately a school shooter, especially with how I act in class just regularly. But yeah, somebody heard me say I was thinking about it, but now I'm not gonna. And they legitimately reported it to some lady. And let me just say, I'm in 9th grade. There's like a 10th grade administrator. I'm not sure what her official thing is. I'm not sure if she's like a guidance counselor or something. But basically, she has been at every meeting. She took the day off to go to my meeting at Bannerman to try and sell why I was a school shooter. This lady is literally trying to act like the hero in some sort of story that shouldn't even be a story. And it's just ridiculous. It seems like everybody on this road, like, I've just been on this set path from the beginning. There's no way I could play it better. Because even with the very, very small mistake, they've just had me on this path that I can't get off of. There is no way I could have played it better so far to not be, like, still expelled right now. There is literally no better way I could play it. So, like, at just the first meeting, like, a couple days after what I said, they could have just said, oh yeah, you shouldn't have said that, now you have to go in front of the school board, which is now what I have to do. I have to go in front of the school board in April, right? This meeting was on the 5th of March. I have to wait a month. He wanted to put me in Bannerman for a month, which I'm not gonna do. We're gonna do virtual schooling or something, like at my own house, because going to Bannerman is just not a choice for me. And the thing is, in my Discord, right, I keep my friends updated in my Discord, right? My friend's Colby, my friend's Kenny. Speaking of which, you guys are probably watching this. How you doing? Colby makes jokes all the time because he knows I'm one of the few kids that should definitely not ever end up in Bannerman. And he's like, oh yeah, if they make you go to Bannerman, you're gonna get raped. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because I'm like small and I'm like, my arms are skinny and stuff. And it's like, I should never end up in Bannerman, basically. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So, I know, I'm looking at the audio right now. We're about 16 minutes in. But there's a couple things I wanted to say, a couple little tidbits I wanted to add on. Basically, the girl who reported me to the really mean lady who's basically just trying to keep me on this path to, like, eventually getting sent to prison, probably. The girl who actually reported me, she's friends with Austin, right? The kid who walked up and started this joke. By the way, Austin got out of this unscathed. I'm about 95% sure. I don't know the kid, but nobody has talked about Austin yet, and it very, very much looks like they're trying to keep all the focus on me. And I don't know why that is. I don't know, like, if Austin's dad is, like, the president or something, and it just so happens that they can do that. But basically, like, everybody in this situation is friends, right? The person who reported me, the person who was there for the joke, Austin, they're friends, right? And I don't know these people, which means that they could have easily organized the information in whatever they wanted to in the record. And I'm not saying they did that, but I'm just saying that it's funny that whenever they went over the record with me in the first meeting, that nothing was correct, and it just seemed like I was walking around saying that I was going to shoot up a school, which is 100% not true. And in the last meeting, I started talking about this, and it's just like, everything points to this being set up, right? And I know for a fact that they lied about at least one thing. Austin did not walk up to me and ask me my opinions on the school shootings. That 100% is a lie. That he lied to the school, he lied to the cops. That is illegal, but I'll save that there. But another thing is, at the meeting, the last meeting, the bald guy, I didn't say he was bald before, but he was bald, the administrator at Bannerman, I guess, he tried to compare what I did to yelling fire in a theater or yelling bomb at an airport or something. But the thing is, my friends Jared and Alex didn't hear me say anything. The only person who was upset was the only person who recorded this incident to the 10th grade administrator lady who hates my guts, right? So it just doesn't make sense. You can't use that analogy. Basically, a better analogy would be if I whispered fire in a theater, and then somebody heard me, and then they told somebody, and then I legitimately just got, like, arrested, because that's basically what this is. Remember, I've been kicked out of school, and I'm going in front of the school board all because of this comment, right? This comment that literally upset one person. She goes to tell the administrator lady or whatever. Now everybody involved thinks like they're some superheroes that are stopping a school shooting. No, you're not stopping a school shooting. You're stopping my education. You're trying to ruin my future.